There's a reason there's no one like me on earth that does my kind of comedy. What it takes to live that whole life and then to find the humor out of it and then to build something with it. You're building a comedy business to a stage where the world even has any awareness that you exist is a whole process that you have to learn how to create. That is one of the bigger regrets of my life. And my only consolation is this, that had I started sooner, I would have been a voice like every other voice complaining about the same things because I wouldn't have had the perspective that I have today.
I can't believe I got to talk to today's guest. To be honest, I don't think I've been this nervous to interview a guest since Stacey Abrams, and that was a couple of years ago, and I'll never forget leading up to that interview. I had stress nightmares, but with Zarna, this has been completely different. So Zarna has written this incredible memoir, and I'm not even going to lie, I was more of a fan of Zarna after I read this memoir than I was before. I loved her comedy. I think her comedy is very particular. It is smart. It is witty. It's, of course, hilarious. As a mom myself, I really appreciate a woman who is building a career based on making fun of her kids. And I just feel like that's my love language. And the fact that she's monetized it, like that is the dream. But getting to know her personal story, I mean, when you sit across from someone and you know their entire life story because they have poured it out onto the page and you get to see them and they're speaking to you when so much was up against them from the moment they were born, it is such a unique privilege and opportunity. Like Zarna exists the way that she exists, and she put herself on this global stage in her 40s, y'all, her mid 40s. Now she's in her fifth decade of life and her career is soaring. She's developing a sitcom with Mindy Kaling, Kevin Hart. Like, you know, you're a big deal when you got Mindy Kaling and Kevin Hart on speed dial, okay? She has her own Amazon Prime special, One in a Billion. She's got another one coming out on Hulu. Zarna Garg is that girl. All right. I embarrassed the hell out of myself on the internet after I finished her memoir. I was listening to it, laughing my ass off when I was doing the dishes. My husband would be like, "What are you doing over there? What are you listening to?" And I'm like, I can't stop. I didn't want to stop to explain to him what I was listening to because it was that good. And I was so in the story with Zarna. So her memoir tells her life story from growing up, the daughter, the oopsie daughter in her blended family in Mumbai, in India. She really was left to her own devices. But in the meantime, she flourished. Like she turned into the most extraordinary, resilient, intelligent, hilarious, warm-hearted, good-hearted human being. And you'll hear about her journey to America, what brought her here, and how she's built her family here. I'm just going to stop talking now so you can listen to Zarna and I. And I just hope that you check out her memoir. I hope that it touches you the way that it touched me, and that you honestly leave this conversation feeling inspired, BA fam, the way that I was, to not let age or life circumstance or any vision of, well, I should have done this by now, so it's too late for me. Throw that out the damn window, because Zarna gives each of us permission to put ourselves out there and try something new, fail fast, try hard, keep going, embrace the failure, because one day you will fly. And it's all down to Zarna and the insight, the wisdom, the passion, the levity, the heart she brings to this conversation, to this book, to her work. All right, VA fam, enjoy my interview with Zarna Garg. How do you feel, New York Times bestseller?
You know, I have a real resistance to calling myself a writer or an author. I just am not able to do it.
I heard.
I feel good that somebody's enjoying the book.
So what do you consider I guess labels don't matter, but
I don't know. In my head, I'm running a tech company. In my head, I'm a software engineer.
you've talked about that. I mean, that was like the resistance your whole life, is we talk about your family chastising you, calling you like, oh, who do you think you are, an American woman? And being even like hearing from your English teacher that you were a great writer and almost being ashamed of that.
Yeah. Oh, frightened. It was beyond shame. I was like, if my parents find out, I'm going to be in so much trouble.
Do you know I went to Barnes & Noble and got this today?
Oh, yay.
I listened to the audiobook because I knew it was going to be good. I listened to the whole thing. And that is how I caught myself crying in the daycare parking lot. When I mean, I couldn't have like planned it more perfectly or imperfectly, is that I literally was listening to the final chapter where you're thanking your brother and the circle is being completed. You
Yeah.
bringing us back to that like sibling connection. And I am just ugly crying.
Oh my God.
It ain't cute.
And that's the kind of comic I am.
It hurts so good. It's the pay. It's like why you want, I mean, girl, you're a writer. I don't care what you say. That's why I read books. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I love stories so much. And I'm just so grateful. And I was like, oh, I'll get a couple copies. I'll give it to a friend. But I don't think so because the book has pictures, the actual
Yes.
physical book. So
Yes.
now this is like you need the audiobook, you
Yeah.
need the physical book, you need them both because they
Yeah.
each have a little something different.
We tried to create two different and unique experiences. So the book had photos all along. And it's just trying to give context to the story, actually. It wasn't about, like, look at me, I'm famous, because I don't even think I'm famous. But I felt like if I'm telling the story and if I have some sort of photo to give context to it, it would be more fun for the reader. But then
Yeah.
when we did the audio, I realized that the book people got something that the audio people won't. So we decided to do the family essays and that extra
Yeah.
because it didn't feel right, and I wanted each person to have their full experience of the
Yeah.
Zarna story.
I did. I had to wait for the family essays. It's a bit of a letdown. No offense to your beautiful husband, your son, Bridge. But
Yeah,
I just wanted to sit in my Zarna love. And so I did eventually get to them. I thought it was
yeah,
wonderful. So there's no getting around it. You are brilliant in first of all, you are law school educated. You're
yeah,
educated out the wazoo because, of course, you are an immigrant.
yeah,
Like, that's
yeah.
just comes with the
That's
territory.
what you know. You don't know anything else. So you're like, go to school.
You've been raised, an entrepreneurial family, and you used to read, what was it, the Indian Times,
The Times of India.
the
Yeah,
Times
I
of
still
India.
do. I still do every single day.
But how old were you when you started? You were like 5 or something?
I don't know. I feel like the moment I opened my eyes, I started reading books and
Yeah.
newspaper. I'm much more a current events girl. I'm not as much a literature girl. Like I haven't read every great literary
Okay.
classic. I've read many of them, but
Yeah.
that's not my obsession. My obsession is more everyday affairs, what's happening in the world, who said what, where's the war happening, why is it happening, that type of stuff.
It's like your feet are so grounded in reality and have been from such a young age. And I mean, I wish, I honestly, like, as much as I'm happy to know you now, I've never wanted to meet a 5-year-old kid more than like 5-year-old Zarna.
Yeah.
And I actually have a 5-year-old. And I think part of the reason why I was so emotionally just impacted by your work is because I am in so many ways like living a similar, I mean, not obviously so different in a lot of ways, but raising young kids. But I resonate with like the financial challenges of raising children. And I'm not even trying to put my kids in private school
Don't do it.
at 40K a year.
Spoiler alert for those who want to read the book. That whole chapter I wrote for my fellow tri state area moms
We
because I
appreciate you.
needed moms to know the truth of what I went through, what I felt, and how I didn't need to put myself through any of that. I just did it to myself.
Yeah.
And I really wrote it because that is something I deal with every day. Every day I have a mom talk to me about how she's dying under the burden of this price tag, and it's insane. And every day I'm trying to help somebody like navigate what's the better option around wherever she lives.
Well,
And
listen, like you said, I know so you put your kids through this, private school in the Upper East Side, was it? In Manhattan, you have 3 children, but not all 3 of them went. It was your first 2, right?
all three went.
Oh, all 3
All
went.
three
Okay.
went, yeah.
That's
And I had
right.
to take all three out.
Damn. And I love the scrappiness of that story of you getting your kids into the New York public school
Yeah.
system because I know how
Yeah.
challenging it
Complicated it
is.
is, yeah.
And I too was so confused because I'm from Georgia,
Yeah.
which is similar to, I mean, it's like every other state. Like, where do
Yeah.
you live? This is your school.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Not New York.
Not in New York. And so once you're in that system, how toxic it is and how they know they have you by the you know whats, and they're
Yeah.
like Mr.
Yeah.
Potato Head, which is what you've, for legal reasons, I'm sure, call the director of admissions or whatever, thinks he's the king of everything of this private school. But 40K a year for kindergarten, I know it's like double that now.
70 something, yeah.
Jesus. So I don't even want to think, but daycare. You have
Yeah.
to understand. So did you ever pay for your kids' daycare?
Yeah, I did when they were little.
So
And
my
that's
two
expensive. That's expensive.
girl.
But at least there's no other alternative to daycare. There's just not.
Yeah.
There's no place to put a 6 month old or a 10 month old. And I get it, and they are actually, I know what they're doing. Like there's a human being taking care of two, three, four, five babies at a time. The private school thing, I just don't get. Like algebra has not changed in 100 years. Yeah, why
Yeah.
it has become so prohibitive? It's become a status symbol. It's like buying a Gucci bag.
And
Daycare I've paid too, and it's very, very, very expensive for sure. And luckily, it's a limited time, and then you transition to school, and then that's where it needs to be. You don't write that kind of check for anything else. You do it for your kids.
I can't fathom you breaking out into the comedy scene. You were 40 something, 40,
44.
44. And you doing it, not just, I mean, I know you started a little bit before the pandemic and then your husband lost his job and then it became less about you exploring this new path and being like, oh, now I'm going to save the family with this career. You felt called to do it. But the level of courage to break out and try something different at that stage in life, when you talk about feeling as if you were a stay-at-home mom for all those years, 16 and something years, that you talk about feeling like the rest of the world had moved on and how you were kind of left behind. I mean, it resonated so much. Do you still look back at those years when you were a stay-at-home mom with all this talent and all this untapped intelligence in your mind? Do you look back and wonder, what if I had started sooner? Or are you
Oh,
completely at peace?
all the time. I have so many regrets. Even though you shouldn't have regrets and you shouldn't look back, and everybody says that, and I say it to other people. No one wins against age. So it's like a thing. My only consolation is that I really wouldn't have the stories that I have today. There's a reason there's no one like me on earth that does my kind of comedy. It's not just here. There's no one in India, there's no one in all of Asia. Because what it takes to live that whole life and then to find the humor out of it and then to build something with it, those are all individual, huge, humongous steps that you have to take. You're building a comedy business to a stage where the world even has any awareness that you exist is a whole process that you have to learn how to create. So I have a lot of regrets, but I really do work on not dwelling on them. It's a constant battle, though. That is one of the bigger regrets of my life. My only consolation is this, that had I started sooner, I would have been a voice like every other voice complaining about the same things, because I wouldn't have had the perspective that I have today as the mother of these grown kids, having gone through this whole cycle. And that was the gift that destiny decided to give me. And I have to accept it in grace and not be a brat about it.
Okay, BA fam, I don't want to, but we got to take a break. We got to pay some bills. Zarna would not be happy with me if she knew that I wasn't going to monetize this episode because she is all about that money, honey. I'll be right back with more of my chat with the Zarna Garg. You're making me like want to own my momminess. I struggle with this a little bit. And also so many things I want to say. But I want to, first of all, I want to let you know that from the other side, looking at your journey, I'm like, maybe that's the way to do it. I should have married a rich Wall Streeter. I should have like had the kids and been the stay-at-home mom because I'm a dummy. I feel like a dummy. I'm like trying to do it all at the same time, Zarna. I am.
God, yeah, let's get into it. Oh my God.
My husband's texting me now. What time? I don't listen. My husband literally just texted me. What time are you going to pick the kids up? Don't know, don't care. I'm talking to Zarna. I don't know. But it's so hard.
It's so hard.
And I don't have a village. My mommy doesn't live here, you know.
There's
Thank
no
God I have
village.
one.
What village? Who came up with that? I was always looking. I was like, where is the village? Where am I?
Well,
How am I
everywhere
missing it?
but America. That's like,
Yeah.
you know, you've talked about wanting to have. I listened to your family podcast, which is so cute. What a great memory for your kids. Eventually, one day they'll probably
Well,
appreciate it
hopefully
later.
they don't get canceled out of the job market, but okay.
Well, they'll probably be business entrepreneurs anyway. Duh. But like you talk about wanting to wage war on American motherhood.
Yeah.
Can we wage that war? Do you need recruits? Like,
Yeah, I mean, don't you think it's insane
It's
that there's
it's
no
crap.
way to fulfill all the obligations to everybody's satisfaction? I'm constantly, even today, letting some teachers down in my kids' school because I didn't show up for this, that, or the other thing, or forgetting something work-wise because something at my kids' school took over and like completely consumed me. There's no way, and I have so much empathy for where you are, Mandy. I've been there, and it just feels like it's gonna drown you. It feels like it's going to drown you. And the one big gift of my career right now that has been unexpected because I didn't see it until somebody mentioned it to me is that a lot of young moms like yourself with young kids are actually taking a beat and saying, you know what, maybe we should take a break or go slow these years because I can come back and have a real career. And this is something they are learning from me, that it is possible. It's not easy. Nothing in life is easy, but it
Yeah.
is possible to be that mom when you need to be that mom, if you can afford to be that mom, or whatever version of it you can afford to be. And then say that once these kids are out of this certain stage, I'm going to go all in. Because it's very, very hard. But it's a hard thing. It was very hard for me. It still is. I travel. The only way to make a living really as a comic is to be on the road. So it's a concept. I still have a 13-year-old son at home, which everywhere, no matter what time zone I'm in, I'm like, did you eat? Did you fill this paper? Your teacher, when they call, they don't know where I am. I'll get a call at 2 a.m. in Hawaii because I'm there for work. I'm not there to hang out. And my phone will ring. And you know, when your kid's school calls, you just jump up.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's stressful. And
Yeah.
you don't know what time it is. You're trying to think backwards, like, wait, is he in school? Is this thing?
Is he like immediately? I'm like, is he okay? Is he okay? Are you okay? Did everything? And it's like
Listen.
that's all our lives. So the thing you have to do is give yourself grace, and also no one else will. If you
Yeah.
don't give yourself grace and take care of yourself, however that self care is, no one will do it for you. No one in this country is going to ask the mother, what do you need? That is gone. Even the politicians, they all lie. You know that. They're like, oh,
Oh,
we're going to
yeah.
do this for the moms. They're doing nothing.
You and I are on the same page. When I heard you say no one gives a shit about moms, no one gives a shit about moms or kids in this country. Like,
No.
full stop.
I mean,
Couldn't care
and
less.
unfortunately, women neither. So it's like a triple whammy.
It's and you're like it's the biggest letdown, but it's also there's this part in the book. You have all these great quotes. I love that you quote yourself too. You're like, yes, this is my wisdom. It's pain. You say, pain is my destiny and my company and my affinity. Embracing pain and not wasting time wondering why me will put you on the fast track to
Yeah.
success.
Yeah.
And I think as a mom, I've stopped expecting anyone
Yeah.
else to make it easier.
No.
And
You may as well, because it's not going to happen. In my experience,
yeah.
it's not going to happen.
No, well, talk to me about you're raising your kids on the Upper East Side of Manhattan,
Yeah.
and you are putting them in these like fancy schools and all of that. How did you connect with the other moms? Like, were there other moms like you?
Uh,
You
so
know?
in the fancy, expensive schools, I knew I was a misfit on day one. Like, I just knew that I really thought, oh, for my kids' future, this is what I have to do. I don't relate to any of these people, but this is where the good education is. So we're going to do this. And as time wore on, what I learned is that what they consider education and what I consider education were just two different things. To me, that felt like a country club. And everything was, the axis was revolving around like, we need to have these many days off, extra days off, because we need to be able to travel to all these exotic locations. Like, that would never factor in the life that I live. The life that I live, I work every single day. Even now, every holiday, every day I'm working. It never occurs to me that I should take extra time off to fly to the other side of Earth. Like if I really, really want to take a vacation, I fly to Florida. 3 hours. Like my math is already doing all the calculation on how much time this is going to take. So, what I learned very early is that this type of schooling is not only not giving the education that I value, which is very basic, hardcore math, science, reading. Like I don't need the fluff. I don't want the class in Japanese that two kids are going to take and the school is very proud to offer. I just want you to teach my kids the basics. And what I found is that they don't actually care about the basics. They spend a lot of money on all these exotic things and additions that I don't care about. And mostly, I felt like the one thing that made New York, New York, I was losing in private school. I was losing the entire grittiness of it. The whole school is constantly working to remove every weed off the road for the kids. And to me, the education is in the weeds. The education is in the everyday daily frustrations of how do you do, like, for example, the experience that you just shared right now where you don't have a village, you're running to your mother-in-law, dropping a kid, then the school is closed. As painful as it is in the moment, and I know it's very painful, I've lived it. Believe me, when you come out from the other side of it, having lived through this is going to make you a better, not only a better human being, because who cares about that? It's going to make you a better business person.
I was going
It's
to
going to
say, will it
make
make me
you,
some money? By the way, I
yes,
wore green for
yes,
you.
I love it. I was like, I've been so admiring. I'm like, wow, she looks good.
Oh my God, for you, I will put on a lip. I told him I
Uh,
red lip.
I feel so honored.
I've already been to Barnes& and Noble this morning. I put on a red lip. I was like skipping through land. I was
Thank
like,
you for
la la
buying
la.
the book at Barnes& and Noble. I was so frustrated because the week we hit the New York Times bestseller list, they
Hmm.
put all the other books out on the bestseller table and not ours.
I don't want to make you upset because I fixed it.
Oh,
But do you know where I found your book?
yeah,
I looked at all, they had that big
yeah,
display. And I live in a really diverse area. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, I expect to see a diverse selection. And they had one, but I wasn't seeing your book anywhere. I'm like, I can't be missing this. This cover is extraordinary. And the kind woman at the front desk, or at the cashier, she was like, oh yeah, it's back. There's like a pillar in the humor section. Meanwhile, the humor section is like the skinniest
Yeah,
column on the back of a
yeah.
thing. It wasn't facing out. I was like, this is a New York Times bestseller. So I took the copies that were there and I moved them to the new and noteworthy table.
Oh my God, you're so
You're
you're
welcome.
so sweet. But this is this is a thing. The system is not designed to help us. And I
Mm-mm.
hit the metric just like every other book. Because in the past they would be like, well, no one's buying it. But we're outselling almost every book. Like if you look on Amazon, it's a bestseller now, 3, 4 weeks later. We're hitting every metric, but the system is not designed to help us. Like they get a list from their, superiors or whoever, and the list is usually names that they recognize. They don't recognize the name Zarna, so they're like, oh, just stick her in the back somewhere. And this is something also I deal with all the time, and I just choose to see the humor in it because there is no point yelling and screaming about all this. There's just no point. It's not gonna resolve the issue. I choose to come with love, even though it does infuriate me. It does infuriate me that, like, why aren't you just giving me equal treatment? I'm not asking for anything better. But
This cover.
yeah.
How do you how do you make a cover like that?
You
Did they
know,
just have someone in a green
no, it
hoodie?
was a big guy and with his hands painted green, and he had to like lift me so we could get. I was so scary. I was like,
Oh my
no, this guy
anxiety.
is gonna break his back. What are we doing? And the photographer was like, just, we're gonna get it, we're gonna get it. And then I had to like kick my leg up in the air. And I don't do this stuff, I just stand like a goofball and smile with my mouth open, my teeth showing. So but he was the photographer whose vision it was, CJ Burton, this digital photographer in LA, such a nice guy. He was like, look, I was very intent on having a fun cover. What I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want is like, a lot of biographies and memoirs will have the close up of the author's face, and it's very
Mm-hmm.
deep in thought.
Black and white. Mm-hmm.
It's like, look at me, I'm so serious. And I wanted to have fun with it. I was like, I'm not so serious. If you meet me in real life, I will make a joke about anything. So we came up with a few concepts, but this one was what felt like the most ambitious version. But when I saw the guy who had to lift me, is a big guy, and he was, poor guy, his whole forearm, everything was painted green. And the poor guy was stuck the whole day not being able to use his arms because they didn't want to mess up the painting.
Oh, okay.
So I had so much empathy. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." He's like, "No, no, I'm done. I haven't had water since 6 a.m."
We got to hold up the national treasure that is Zarna Garg. Like,
Uh,
I bet he was stoked. Plus, you're so petite. You're like a
no,
little
oh my
pocket
God,
rocket.
I am not so petite. It was not easy. I'm really heavy, and I felt it that day. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so." Of all the times I wish I had lost weight, today is the most important
Oh,
day. I
man.
was.
So, a mutual friend of ours is Farnoosh Torabi.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I love her.
so we're in the same kind of like financial podcasting space. And
Yeah,
um, yeah, so she's wonderful. She hosted an event for you in
yeah,
Jersey. Was
yeah,
it during your book launch? And I was listening
yeah.
to your interview with her and I was like, come on, Zarna, don't tell me that you don't love your body. I'm like, that's what I thought was supposed to happen when you're in your like 40s, 50s,
No.
60s. Like you just love it.
No, because the reality of being overweight hits you. It's not the vanity. Honestly, it's not the vanity. I don't really care. I'm not out there looking for a guy. It's not that. It's the real statistics of what being overweight means in terms of health. And you want to live. Like now, I want to live to torture my daughter-in-law.
Right. And they don't get married so young,
No,
so you got to
exactly.
live really long.
You gotta, yeah. So it's that. But ever since I found how to dress for my work, I feel like I'm more at peace. For a
Mm,
long time, I was just not at peace with my body. I don't get into that with the book because it's not really part of the story in that way. But to be on stage and to be making jokes for as long as I do, hour and a half straight in front of huge audiences. I just did 5,000 people recently in Vegas. To be able to do that, you have to be very
incredible.
comfortable in your skin and in your body and in how the world is looking at you. And until I learned to dress for myself and figure out an outfit uniform that works for me, I just wasn't there. It was very hard for me to make my peace with, oh my God, people are going to see me. They'll take photographs from this side, and like, what am I going to look like? I figured out an outfit that felt simple but representative of me. And now I don't really care. Take a photo from any angle. I don't care because I feel like I'm covered and I look decent and elegant, and I'm good with that.
You were trying to find your look, and I
Yeah.
did think that that was highly relevant just for anyone who's it's not even about being on a stage, but just like going through life, and maybe your body is, not the body that it was 20 years ago, pre-kids or whatever. And just I thought it was a great testament to the power of making clothes for the body you have now, and like
Yeah.
getting a look that makes you feel comfortable. And 1,000%, there is something that happens when you're wearing something that just makes you feel good,
Yeah.
that gives you the confidence to do a scary thing.
110%. And I'm telling you that I appreciate that I had the good sense to stick with it because people in India, especially fashionable people, make fun of me all the time. Even right now, they think, "Oh, you wear the same thing in four different colors. What is that belt?" Because the belt is not an Indian thing. We in Indian clothes usually are not belted the way I belt them here. I added that, and I get my tailor to make the belt for me. It was a process to learn how to do it, and but I wanted it because I felt like in America it needed to look a certain way. Whatever it is, it was my decision and my process. And but people make fun of me constant. There are fashion blogs that feel free to pick on me, and it's like, oh, here comes the American Indian because they think that I've created this crazy outfit. But I don't care because I feel good in it, and I feel like my audience sees me for what I'm trying to show them, that I am Indian, that I am a certain type of person. I believe in dressing modestly. I don't need to show any more than you can see. So it was a
Well,
process, and really I started doing it more and more because it affects the business. It's again not a vanity thing. The better you look, the more confident you are, the more confident you feel, the more money you will make. It translates into real dollars and cents.
let's
And
talk
that's
about.
actually pretty undeniable at this point because there's even data out there to support it.
Mm,
But I never, till 44, never wore a lick of makeup. Never. I used to go to weddings with like a little touch of Vaseline on my lips. That's it. I can show you wedding photos.
Vaseline.
Yeah,
Well, you can't
no.
have ashy lips. At least you put that
No,
on.
yeah,
Mm.
it's that simple. Because as a consumer of pop culture, I used to always think, how crazy is this woman? Or why is this man getting another, like, whatever, liposuction? What? Why would you do that? I would never. And now I know why they're doing it. They're doing it
Mm.
for their business.
Well, can we talk about business, because you are a business guru? Like, I don't I, almost I'm a little afraid that a bunch of people are going to try to have, like, these creative careers in their mid 40, late 40s inspired by your story, if they don't understand that you didn't just try it out. Like, you went full tilt. Like, I am going to be the Zuckerberg of comedians. I'm going to be the Serena Williams of comedy, and really think of it from a business standpoint. And you made some choices. You chose to keep your comedy clean, which I'm
Yeah.
not sure that just means no curse words,
Yeah.
basically.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I heard a joke where you called your
Yeah.
mother-in-law the C word.
So there's a few handful of jokes where I have curse words that I use in the clubs all the time. And depending on the booking, but I have replacements for all those words for my corporate shows. So I do shows that have the same jokes, but with the replacement, which is also as funny, because the money is in clean comedy. If you see all the big comics and how they translate to bigger big gigs, it's all clean comedy. Unless you're that niche comic, one in a billion, who becomes known for their dirty humor, and I wouldn't even know what to say. Honestly, like I'm not sexed up like that. Like I have nothing to say in that space.
What do you mean?
I mean,
I
I
don't
wouldn't even know
know.
what jokes
You
to
were you
make.
were you were dragging Shalab around, making out in the cab when you first met him. If you guys, I don't want to. We can't talk about everything. I want to keep it about the fun money stuff. But the story of you and Shalab's like courtship and. Oh, I loved it so much. It was so cute. I can see how y'all fell in love through letters. You're both so funny. And both so steeped in reality that you're like calling each other out on, your
Yeah.
BS. And what a sweet. Well, actually, I am going to give Shellup some shine because there's this part in the book, multiple parts where it's like that Grinch, the moment in the Grinch. Do you know the Grinch, the green guy,
Yeah, of course.
and
Yeah,
his
of
heart
course. I've
just
watched it
grows?
like 100 times with my kids.
Yeah, and then his heart just grows like 3 times bigger. And there's moments in your book that do that for me. And one of them is your beautiful husband of 25 years
Yeah, at the time, probably.
when y'all are at a dinner with like some of his hoity-toity
Yeah.
Wall Street friends and their wives, and at this point you are determined to figure out what this stage of your life's going to be at. You're feeling like something is missing, so you're trying to start all these businesses, like a toothbrush business, a vegan chili business, all these things, and they're kind of ribbing you about it in a way that's not so kind. And your husband's like, "Don't worry." They're just afraid that when you actually find your thing, you're going to become unstoppable.
Yeah.
And he just says it so nonchalantly and just continues eating his dinner.
That's his special talent.
So sweet, so
Yeah.
romantic.
Yeah.
Forget roses, like defend my greatness in front of all your friends and also
Yeah.
make them feel in the process for me.
Yeah, it's true. He is particularly adept at that type of dialogue, and that's real in real life who he is. He's not one to make grand statements. He barely speaks. I mean, if he says 5 words in a day, that's a lot. So he just engages when he feels like he absolutely must, and otherwise he's kind of like he's a little flighty in his everyday life. A lot of people will be like, he just saw right through me. I saw him on the street. He didn't say hello. But it's not him being disrespectful. He really lives in his own world of numbers, and like he's thinking about what trade he made and what he wants to make and how is that math gonna work out. And like he's like a happy, flighty math guy.
Intellect, cerebral. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I find it hard to call him an intellect because like he's not that smart. He does ridiculously stupid things every day. I remember when I was newly married to him, I was like, how are these people paying you? You can't figure anything out.
Well, there's number smart, I guess.
Yeah. No, he's like, but he doesn't wear his intellect. Some successful people like to talk like they're fonts of wisdom. Like they will release tweets like God has spoken. There will be LinkedIn articles from them, like, the state of the affair. That is not my husband at all. Never was. Even in his most successful, he was like, can I just go to bed? Please don't invite me. Please, God, don't invite me to all these events. Like, I don't want to be there. I want to be home. I want to be like taking a nap. So he was always that simple guy. And he still is. Like, he barely communicates. And when he's definitely, him and I have a friendship that is above everything else. So if he finds that people are making fun of me, which happens all the time, I mean, it happens even now, but back during the transition phase, before I found comedy, it was peak. I mean, I was ripe for jokes for everybody. Because I also, in defense of all of them, I didn't just start businesses. I started businesses.
You
I
don't
said,
do anything
here's my
halfway.
website, here's my card, here's, my entire vision. I didn't just start a business. I saw $1 billion vision instantly in every failed business. Some people would be like, work in silence. No, no, that was not me. So people had a lot to pick on. I gave them a lot to pick on. So my husband, when he would step in, would be like, they're just all nervous because none of them are even trying anything.
They don't know what to do with you.
Yeah, they don't know. And they didn't come from the world where all you did. I didn't think of myself as somebody whose life's goal was to support her husband. It was a part of my job as a wife, a mother, and a homemaker, but I didn't see it as the be all and end all of my identity. Like, I never was that woman who wanted to go places and be like, I am Mrs. So and so, no matter who the husband was, no matter if he was a billionaire or whatever. Like, I was always inside my body, fighting for my own, like, what is my journey in this life? Like, what is my thing? And how am I going to find it?
I mean, can we just go back in time a little bit? Because as you're talking about that, sort of not seeing yourself as fulfilling the life goal for your husband and finding your own purpose. I mean, that was so innate in you from a young age. I mean, you were a teenager when your husband, you write about this in the book, not your husband, sorry, your father, after your mother passed away, was pretty much ready to throw you away and say, I'm going to marry you off. You're a
Yeah.
teenager, you're 13, 14
Yeah,
at this
14.
age, which is not uncommon,
Yeah.
right, in India,
Yep.
even today. And you, as a teenager, said, I would rather live on the streets, bouncing from home to home, friends' homes, friends of friends' homes, and to sign up for security, to sign up for this arranged marriage. And I mean, oh, I just, as a mom, I'm just like, protect the babies. And you were just a baby, but you did that. That's so, I don't know what to even say about that.
Just to be completely fair and honest, like, I didn't know I was signing up for that. I didn't. When you're a teenager and you like are defying your parents and you're like, all right, if you don't want me to live here, I'll live with my friends. In your innocence, you really believe that's an option. You know what I mean? Like, because you've done sleepovers that went for a weekend and no one sent you home. So you've traveled. Maybe I at that point had traveled with my friends' families to like nearby vacation spots. I was like, yeah, well, you know what? You don't want me here. So nice. They feed me, they let me do all these things you don't let me do. Like, I'll just go there. When I walked out of my house, I really didn't think it would become what it became. And I really thought that my dad was consumed by grief and that in a matter of a day or two or three, he will come around and then we will find a new happy medium. He was not playing. And I learned that the hard way. And that is true of many men of color. I think they like stake their pride and dignity on everything, especially back home. And my dad was not having it. And also, like, women were throwing themselves on him left, right, and center. So he had so much temptation. I know that now in hindsight. Like, he had young women, like women 20 years younger than him, being like, do do you need anything? Do you need it? It was a lot of like, what can we do to help
What's
you?
the Indian version of making a casserole and bringing it over?
Yeah, making samosas, making, like, it was wild. And that's another thing that I've learned, because I saw it firsthand in my life, that men will go on. I've seen it enough to know that their lives will go on. It's the women. I read a statistic somewhere a long time ago, and I don't even know where I read it because, and if I'm wrong, somebody can feel free to correct me. But I read a statistic somewhere that said that the face of poverty in America is motherhood. That women who are single moms, who are moms in general, are much more prone to living in poverty than any other demographic. That's a statistic that scared me. That is another reason why I was like, I've got to figure something out, something, anything. I was like, I will become the world's best dental hygienist if somebody good gives me a job. I will take such good care of them if they can like give me some financial security. This was during the days when nothing entrepreneurial was working. I was like, what else can I do? Like, can I become a receptionist somewhere where they will like pay me and, all these things. So, but knowing that the outcome for women, and I have three kids, like, they're gonna need stuff. My daughter's graduating college, she still needs stuff. It doesn't end, you know.
It also, in New York, the money will dry up so
Oh my
quickly.
God. When my husband lost his job, he had been a CIO for 10 years. We had savings. People will ask me, did you not have savings? We had savings. We thought we were set. And it went like a dam. It felt like with the decision, it felt like we found out on Monday that he doesn't have a job, and 2 Mondays from then, it was all gone. It felt like that. Like, oh my God, we had a oh my God. And then when things are not going to work, nothing works. Like, we couldn't sell the apartment because the market crashed. Every turn that we tried to consider was like, this can't work, that can't work, that can't work, this won't work. So you really have to prepare. That's another reason why I work as much as I do now. I feel like I have to catch up for all the years that I couldn't do the things that I didn't work for whatever reason. And I don't have time to waste, and I advise a lot of women on thinking big. Once you're playing the game, you got to think big because women are trained to think savings. We think, oh, if I save money, if I don't spend it. I don't think there's any glory in saving. You cannot save yourself out of financial mess. You have to think big.
Yes, Zarna.
You have to
You're a
build big.
mathematical financial genius. What are you talking about? Yes, continue.
At least I'm closer to math than I was as a
Just,
writer.
I'm sorry, drop the gem. People need to hear the gem. Tell them.
But do
Tell them
you
again.
understand what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
we are told, oh, don't buy the coffee, don't get the manicure. Like that is not gonna save you in the end. If you never buy the coffee and you never have the manicure, you're not gonna be financially secure. It's nonsense. And some guy came up with it just because he's irritated that women are trying to be happy. You know. But if you think big from you, that's how you're going to build equity in a business. That's how you're going to make enough money that will be like a sizable, a meaningful amount that you can actually invest and build other things for yourself and for your family. Even for my own kids, like my own daughter, I teach her every day. I go, you have to like live the life you want. Live the life. You want to do that yoga class every, few days, do the yoga class, but figure out how you're going to earn the money. Contracting yourself and trying to live within this tiny bubble that you think is all you can earn is not the answer to your growth. Not for me anyway. I'm all about, I spend a lot of money now. I spend a crazy amount of money, but it's all investment. To me, it's all investment because I buy back time. For example, I don't drive. I haven't driven a car in years because I sit in the back seat of a taxi or an Uber and I work throughout. I don't waste a minute. You will never see me wasting time in the back seat of any car because to me, that's my office. It's like a mobile office. I like to say, don't work from home, work from Uber because I go places. I would not, I go places, I meet people, I'm constantly on the road. If you're in or around the New York area, there's so many interesting people to meet on the daily. Don't restrict yourself to the geography of where you are because the whole point of living in this neighborhood is in this area is to meet everybody who's here to do all the things that they're here to do. This is the world capital of ambition, you know.
I think that's been the hardest thing for me, if I'm really honest, is when my husband grew up in the city of New York.
Yeah.
I'm from the suburbs. I came here for the city life. I'm a writer. I don't have anything. I was trained as a journalist. Like writing is what I do. And when we moved to the suburbs, because he really wanted to, this was 2018. We had our kids, and now I own my own business. I'm like entrepreneur and I'm mom, and I don't get to go to the city unless I make something happen. So I've been trying to just like make plans. I just relate to you so much. The way that you shamelessly, maybe even you have a little shame, but you do it anyway,
You do it
pursue
anyway.
opportunities and
Yeah.
networking. There's a
Yeah.
story you tell in the book about, and I also do career coaching, Zarn. You're going to love this. Like, I really don't think I'm a career coach. I'm like a get out there and talk to people coach,
Yeah.
because too many people, especially women, are too afraid to actually get out and physically put themselves in a room where
Yeah.
they could potentially have something happen.
Yeah.
Meet someone,
Yeah.
hear something in passing. And you tell this story of, where did you go to, this Beverly Hills like networking event for diversity in Hollywood?
Yeah.
And you straight up stalked this dude. What was he just happened, you just had emailed, and you did the thing that I always talk about, which is look up the list of attendees
Yes.
and email them before you go. And you did the thing that everyone that I work with, a lot of them are afraid of, which is, well, what if they think it's awkward or too pushy? And like, well,
Doesn't
and
need it. They
like,
won't respond.
just
It's
do it.
fine. Everybody's an adult, right? Yeah. But I just want to tell you, I have been in your shoes of not being able to go anywhere for a long time. And now, thankfully, in the digital space, there are a lot of options. Like, for example, I'll give you an example of how it worked out. And I really took a shot in the dark. The CEO of Heartbeat, Kevin Hart's company, which at the time I was so new as a comic, I was barely doing open mics. But he was in a LinkedIn chat. I was just reading articles about the comedy business, blah, blah. And because I was reading about things in that space, LinkedIn feed was like sending me all these articles about comedy business, comedy and entertainment, comedy, blah, blah, whatever, right? And one of the things was like, oh, the CEO of Heartbeat is like having a some sort of LinkedIn Zoom or something. Like he was going to talk about the business of comedy and you could attend for free, just watch what he was saying. And I remember thinking, oh, I should watch what are they talking about? But then in the LinkedIn in the Zoom chat, there was an option to drop a question. So I dropped a question and I saw that his team was engaging with it. And I literally took that and I ran with it. I kept dropping questions. I kept dropping questions because I was like, oh, somebody's on the other side actually reading these. And I was like, I'm a mom, I'm a this, there's no one else like me. I just kept at it, kept at it. And then literally within a week, I had a phone call with him.
Is that how you got on the show?
No,
The
that
lift
was
thing?
no. He had nothing to do. So the way Kevin's business is so big that the comedy is one side, the movie and TV is one side. It's like all different things. I thought that that's how I got it. Actually, the people who were casting the show found me performing in the subway and noticed
Mm.
me from a distance and took my name down. Didn't say anything to me in real life because I think they didn't want to engage with me and be like, just in case she doesn't get picked. But
Mm-hmm.
that's how they found me, and I know that now.
Wow.
But besides, I didn't even know this competition existed. So I didn't know what to even ask for when I was connecting with the CEO. But at the time, I remember getting a 15-minute Zoom with him because I kept DMing his team digitally and saying, hey, I would love to talk to him. There's no one else. I thought I was throwing anything. And they're like, all right, all right, all right, we'll see what we can do. And I got a few minutes Zoom with him. And I remember saying to him, I don't know what to even look for. At the time, I was like doing literally like had just one step above open mics. And all he said to me was, he said, look, I can't tell you what your journey needs to be because I have no idea what you want to do and what you can't do. But the world needs more voices like yours. So all I can tell you is that you have to keep fighting until you figure out your door. And even with that one statement from him gave me so much encouragement. And knowing that I could be face to face with somebody like him through a LinkedIn platform, which is nothing. Like, we all scroll and waste time on social media constantly. Now I'm much more methodical about it. I take shots all the time. Most don't work out. Most famous people or powerful people are not going to respond, and that's okay. I don't take it personally. And that's another thing women have to learn. They'll be like, "Oh, I did this and then no one wrote back to me and they all hate me." And like you got to stop saying all that. Everybody's got their own going on, and that's okay.
Fail fast is one of the things that you talk about. And I love about you, and what I try to also emulate, even though it's a bit harder to do, at least where I'm at right now, is like getting like failing so quickly that you don't even like dwell on it.
No.
You're already on to the next attempt. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like the next email, the next guest. I mean, booking this, booking guests on this podcast. I've been doing it for years and years, and still I'm just like, sometimes I feel like I need to low key stalk to get, although I didn't have to low key stalk you. I just had to find your book publisher, thank the Lord. And that it can feel as it's just funny because American women, we have this perception, I think, of the outside world, that we're go-getters and we're loud and we burn our bras and we just like get what we want all the time. But there are a lot of us who have this like internalized patriarchy and misogyny and just self-doubt that stops us from using our voice. And maybe we're in that LinkedIn chat or Zoom chat, but we're not actually saying anything or thinking we have something worth asking.
Yeah, I
That can
mean,
hold us back.
that's all valid self-doubt, right? We all have it, but you have to push through it. And the thing that I learned is that even like very fancy looking successful people, like people who look like they have it all figured out, they all have self-doubt. I know that now because I hang out in green rooms with them sometimes, and they all have to push through it. Like, I've beat myself up for years. For years, I've said to myself, woe is me. I'm short. I like eating carbs. All these other people are tall and thin naturally, and they naturally like eating whatever the protein mumbo jumbo is. And I have now hung out with movie stars who like literally are struggling. They're clenching their teeth. You look at them and you're like, you're struggling with this? Really? Like you want that piece of pizza and you're resisting it? Because I thought I was the only one. I was like, everybody else just naturally wants the Greek yogurt. It's me. And it's not like everybody's got their own struggle. Like I've hung out with movie stars where they're like, I haven't eaten a carb in 20 years for real because I just can't. If I eat one, I'm gonna want the whole thing all over again. And you learn that everybody is struggling their own struggles. It's real. And that helps you not take everything so seriously, and so personally. You take a shot, and if it doesn't work out, you move on. Maybe discipline yourself. Like, there was a period of time where I used to be like, for 45 minutes of the day, I'm going to reach out to people somehow. Whether it'll be Insta DM or LinkedIn, I'm going to read other people's things and actively engage in their world. Because like a lot of people on social media will have their accounts, they will have their tweets and their posts, but they wait for people to come to them. But the way to actually build is to go out there and engage in other people's, like in your case, I'll give you an example. Right? I'm doing so many podcasts, but you were posting Insta stories about what you liked in my world. You are showing me that you're actually doing your homework. You're finding things relevant that I work so hard to build for readers. That that puts you on the fast track to, like, yes, I want to talk to this lady. I want to do her podcast immediately. You know what I mean? But we all have to do some version of that in our life, is deliver value to other people so that they're inspired to engage with us, so that they feel like, yes, this is a person who's done a little bit of homework and cares to know about me and how can I help them, and then we build this cycle of help.
Well, you also told me crying on the internet would go viral, but it didn't. So I just want to
But you
point
got to
that.
keep doing it.
I
Keep
know I
doing
gotta
it.
cry
But do
some
not
more.
stop after. There are unlimited tears in there.
Not every book is like yours. Can I just say for my audience, you may not think, I mean, I'm an African American woman. What do our stories have in common? But there was an anecdote in your book where for your wedding, you were almost tricked into getting your whole body bleached and like being slathered in some kind of chemical cream. Oh, and also in that anecdote, you're trying to figure out, why am I not leaving? Why am I enduring
Yeah.
this? Because it
Yeah.
was hours, right?
Hours.
And I just wanted you to know how seen I felt, because black women in America, we're grown up often getting the chemical relaxers on our
Yeah.
head.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I would be burned alive, like,
Yeah.
and I would be bloody and have my hair stuck to my scalp afterward. And it went on until my 20s, and you just go through it. And you're like, is this normal to be in so much pain and bleeding? And like, it must be, because
Yeah.
they're charging me for it. And I felt really seen by that. And there is something psychologically that happens when people are inflicting pain on you for like a beauty standard, that we just freeze.
We all did it. We still do it. It's crazy. Oh my God. When I was reliving that moment and writing that chapter, it was like, did it not occur to me that I could just be like, stop this, I'm out? But instead, I was like, yeah, bleach every corner. What?
I don't know about that, but I was like, even on my own scalp. So I don't know how you endured that.
Yeah.
Zarna, I want to be respectful of your time. I know you're so busy. Thank you a million times over for saying yes and for letting me. It's really rare. I don't take it for granted that I get to look someone in the eyes and say your work really impacted me, and I'll carry it with me. And as someone who doesn't like fully yet call themselves an author, you wrote every word of this book. And I'm writing my own book right now. I just submitted the manuscript. Thank you.
Yay, that's a big journey. That is such a hard job.
And people
I'm
kept
so,
telling me to get a ghostwriter.
no.
And you tried, right?
Yeah, it was so bad. So, I mean, I wasn't able to do it. Maybe somebody else can show a better way, but it didn't work for
Yeah.
me.
It became for me, I thought I was going to write a personal finance career book. It
Yeah,
became stories, it became
yeah,
personal.
yeah.
And I'm like, there's just no
But
way.
that's what I want. I want to read that book. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want somebody's ghostwritten version. I want your words. And, like, now I know how you speak. I know your cadence. I know how your mind is working. I want more of this. So I hope that you just write the story. Like, I wrote my book as if I'm talking to a friend, and hope that it's being received that way. Because I don't think anybody needs like a book from me that sounds like some deep thinking philosopher wrote it. It wouldn't be right. I'm a TikToker. So I think I really applaud you that you've submitted a manuscript. That's so hard.
2 years, baby. two
So
years.
much work, and pages and oh my God, when you think
Yeah.
you're done, you're never done.
Oh, I know I'm
There's
not done. I
another round of edits and another polish and another, oh my
yeah.
God. So Congrats to you, and really congrats to you for using the time that you have at home where you're restricted by so many things because you have little kids. You're an example of how to make the best of what you have and to put yourself in a position that once the kids get out, you can really take off from that landing point. It's just great. I love it.
Thank you so much for that encouragement. Not that, I mean, I feel like you've given us so much. You don't owe me anything, but everything is in the book. And I just appreciate all that you stand for. Everybody, please go buy a copy of Zarna's incredible book. You got to get the Audible because there's bonus essays, your daughter's essay. Oh, damn, we didn't even get into your kids, but they're incredible. They're incredible. And check out your podcast, the
Yeah.
Zarna Garg's Family Podcast.
Yeah.
I love it. It's very, a unique name. You really like went outside the box with that.
Yeah, we're really deep thinking involved.
Yeah. But I hope this won't be our last chat. I hope that we'll get to chat again soon, so I won't try to get everything in there. But Zarna Garg, appreciate you. You embody brown ambition, and we're just so proud to have you here on our
Thank
little
you
show.
so much for having me. I'm so honored. I love being on this podcast. I wish every listener and viewer of yours great success. And for those who are feeling stuck, I hope they feel unstuck when they read, if and when they read my book. A big reason I decided to write the book when I did, prioritize it over everything else, is precisely for that reason. So I get asked all the time, what can I do? I feel so stuck. And I try to give them the most honest, authentic solutions that I use in my own life. And I really hope that one of them works for them and helps them get unstuck. But thank you for having me. You're so wonderful. And I have so much love for everybody in this universe.
Thank you. And I'll leave you guys with one of my favorite quotes from your book. Okay, well, two of them. But this one in particular is, if you want to be an entrepreneur, start saying to yourself, I'm going to do this no matter what every day. I am going to do this no matter what every day. Because there are so many challenges. We got to keep that mantra going. Zarna, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, BI fam.
Bye.
Until next time. Bye-bye.